Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowars..com.
Obama's arrogant lecturing barely works in the United States. What made him think it would work on an entirely different country?
I figured you might want to hear from the President of the United States what I think the United States is going to do. Maybe some point down the line there might be a UK-US trade agreement, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because our focus is in negotiating with a big bloc, the European Union, to get a trade agreement done. The outcome of that decision is a matter of deep interest to the United States because it affects our prospects as well.
After Obama made his allegiance to the dark side abundantly clear, Alex Massie of The Spectator wrote, "The reaction to Barack Obama's remarks yesterday in which he suggested that Brexit campaigners were not being wholly straight with the British people has been as remarkable as it has been depressing. How dare Obama insult Britain like this? How dare he threaten the British people? Why has Britain allowed itself to be humiliated in this fashion? And who is this guy to talk anyway? He's just a jumped-up, half-Kenyan, lame-duck president whose record is nothing to celebrate anyway. Yah, boo, sucks to be you, Barack Hussein Obama. You know nothing."
The United States government, I'm sure, thinks it doesn't want Britain to leave the EU. Now, why would that be? We are their voice in Europe. This is something that has to be decided on the basis of what is good for Britain, what is good for Britain economically, and what is good for Britain politically. Actually, our democracy is being eroded. We are creating a monster in Europe that's not answerable to public opinion, which will, in the end in disaster.
5 laws out of every 6 that are made in the United Kingdom and inflicted upon us are made because the unelected commissars of the European Union, who have the sole right to propose legislation for the whole of Europe, and that legislation takes precedence over all our own domestic legislation, they have to do what the commissars tell us to do. Commissar is the official German name for the 30 people who, behind closed doors, run Europe. They have absolute power, enormous wealth, and no responsibility. These are the people who now dictate to us what our laws shall be.
Ultimately, this is something that the British voters have to decide for themselves. But as part of our special relationship, part of being friends is to be honest and to let you know what I think.
Let me be clear. When it comes to the special relationship between our two countries, there's no greater enthusiast than me. I'm very proud to have had the opportunity to be Prime Minister and to stand outside the White House, listening to this man, my friend Barack, say that the special relationship between our countries has never been stronger. But I've never felt constrained in any way in strengthening this relationship by the fact that we're in the European Union. In fact, quite the reverse. We deliver for our people through all the international groups that we're part of. We enhance our security through the membership of NATO. We further our prosperity through the G7 and the G20. And like those organizations, Britain's membership of the EU gives us a powerful tool to deliver on the prosperity and security that our people need, and to stand up for the values that our countries share.
Obama's New World Order bedfellow, Prime Minister David Cameron, now has his hands full. The Conservatives were re-elected in the general election held in May of 2015. Cameron held true to his pledge that if the Conservatives were re-elected, the terms of Britain's EU membership would be renegotiated and a vote on the Brexit would be held. However, Cameron's renegotiation with EU Council President Donald Tusk has been criticized as being nothing less than political theater.
So you were disappointed, really? You were disappointed with what the Prime Minister achieved?
Look, I don't think that the agreement as it stands actually reverses or changes anything dramatically, but that's not to be churlish about there were some successes, and I think it is a success to a degree to get any kind of change from the European Union, but let's not get this, it's been sold as this great moment of change.
Meanwhile, the actors in England are changing, as the Labour Party is projected to possibly lose more seats than it did in 1982, as reported by The Telegraph. Great Britain never totally submerged itself into the Bilderberg brainchild's poison, known as the European Union. Britain opted out of the EU monetary policy. The pound is alive and trading nervously as the Brexit vote is favored by 45% of voters. Also, Britain doesn't share open borders like the rest of the EU. Of course, tell that to the 83,000 illegal immigrants claiming asylum in the UK, as was reported by The Express recently.
We've lost control of our borders. Net migration into Britain is now running at 10 times the post-war average, and that's if you believe the official figures, which frankly I don't. We have to build a new house in this country every 7 minutes just to cope with current levels of immigration.
As the Brexit winds down to its June 23rd deadline, expect to see Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland demanding their own say in the fate of the EU's sovereign swallowing hold over the United Kingdom. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Brain Force is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on this the last few months. You probably noticed I've been more crazed, more focused, less brain fog, more energy, more special reports, and it's because of Brain Force.
One of the worst things with most energy products is it's not sustainable, right? You're gonna crash and gonna feel really bad afterwards. This has a bunch of different antioxidants and compounds and polyphenols.
Everybody's on these drugs to knock their brain out because the brain's so fried.
We kept changing this formula over and over and over again until it became sort of a grand puzzle. For example, the L-theanine inside of it, that is activated by the different compounds in the yerba mate that we put inside of it as well. This just increases the compounds you already have.
This is what you're actually designed to run on.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a car will run on one form of junkie gas, but it runs really good on what it's designed for. You will find Brain Force, Survival Shield X2, and other game-changing products at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.